and welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. Previously, the Cupcake Coterie were hanging around Hearthhome briefly en route to Gray's Inn to take on Farideh, the ancient white dragon sitting on top of Gray's Inn, and from there probably going to Black Crown to deal with King Jain Naran III, Black Dragon asshole, and Ava's half dragon, half sister. Because it be like that sometimes. But in the meantime, because they did have an interesting time up north, they do have at least some time to spend with the family. Bittersweet as that is for people like, for example, Barnabas, who did a self-sacrificing. Because he be like that. Not just sometimes, he just be like that. When we left off last session, everybody was more or less in the dooryard with the little sign celebrating Remy and Alice's recent nuptials. And while Alice was effectively pausing a bit to make sure that Legolas, the moose, is in the stable and Remy is sticking with her, because if anybody's going to be the center of attention, they're going to share it.
Remy is patiently waiting outside.
Patiently, I guess she can afford to be patient because she's wearing Aenbach furs, so the cold isn't an issue. For all she does tend to gripe about the snow. I do remember these things. The rest of y'all pile in, and they haven't. They don't do the shouting, but they're clearly all the kids poised to just apparently fling confetti and shout, probably shout hooray or something. We don't know, but you can see. Actually, passive perception, I think, is mostly Froseth, who will notice one little bit of confetti drift down from the rafters, look up, and see Evan with a big armload of confetti. And Froseth ain't saying nothing. Okay.
No.
Yeah, and it's like the let's decide people's favorite foods thing they had when Barnabas joined them. Every available food surface, every available flat surface is covered in food of some description. So yeah, y'all walk in, it's good. Okay. This from Skylar peering around a chair. Okay, everybody's here except the people who we're having the party for. Are they running away from the party?
No,
They're just taking a moment.
So they're kind of hiding from the party for a little while.
Something like that. Trying to delay the inevitable, I think, is their phrasing.
It's happy. You guys are gonna have a lot of happy. So happy needs to happen.
Don't worry, I'm sure they'll love it.
At which point Lissy is like, I'm sure one will make a better pretense at loving it than the other one. Another bit of confetti drifts down from now it's Darvin who's a bit more clued in to hugs from above. Probably lands like on his nose.
Yeah, so it's like and that's the only reaction. He's not going to say anything either. He's not going to ruin Devin's fun. I mean, come on.
Yeah, everybody in there does, however, see Darvin look up. Froseth can usually do that pretty subtly. Mostly because he's almost eye level with it anyway.
Darwin put the B in subtle.
Yes. So, yeah, Alice finishes rubbing Legolas down and looks over at Remy and just going, I know I'm probably supposed to enjoy this, but I only really like being the center of attention when I'm performing.
Well, these are the things we have to do, and I would say, love of my life. We took vows to face the world together, exactly for moments like this.
I know, I kind of thought that was going to be more along the dragon bits, but isn't it?
No, it was this more so.
Yeah, what does it say? No, actually, I know exactly what it says about us, that we're a lot more sanguine about facing dragons than we are parties in our honor.
Well, it's only one dragon, usually, instead of 12 children.
3 dragons plus the Dracolich?
One dragon at a time.
We
If
hope.
it's 12 dragons, then we'll all reconsider what's more of a challenge.
It gives you a kiss. It's just, yeah, okay. I don't know if I feel better now, but you know, it's amusing enough to be getting on with. And yes, into the house they go, and yeah. How many of you guys have thought to stand back?
Oh yeah, no, it's in and out of the way.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, I'm going to see Evan, and I'm just like, oh, this is going to be good. I need to get it. I'm going to be out of the way, and I want a good vantage point.
So it's mostly Clarity who's
Clarity's wisdom is not that great.
Yeah, to be fair, so neither are some of theirs, but I think it's probably more. This is why Lady Whimsy loves you. So yeah, Clarity's kind of probably trying to figure out what the confetti is made out of when the door opens. Enter these two, and all 3 of you, us, I guess, literally showered in confetti. And lots of cheering children as Alice is just, I'm going to be picking this out of my hair for a week. Thank you.
Hi.
Yeah, the kids are still cheering, and that's the point at which Alice kind of turns around, beats the wings, and the confetti that's got stuck in them is just all over the rest of y'all. Twilly is incredibly intelligent and has shielded the food from confetti.
Lots of coughing, lots of laughing, and lots of enough to get the confetti out of my mouth, enough to go. I wonder if prestidigitation would work on this.
No.
Bugger.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, there's general. The kids have raided the gift pile for Alice and Remy, and they haven't found much, in all fairness, but mostly it's snack things for traveling.
Oh, thank you guys.
Thanks, really. Hair ruffles for various kids. Well, I have absolutely no idea what to be saying to any of this, because honestly, I married Ree because I wanted to marry Ree, so everything else is kind of extra, and I'm not usually one who expects extra. Lissy is just nodding like, yeah, this is why you get me. Kind of thing. And Twilly's like, well, it's sort of a buffet sort of situation. It dispels the various shields against confetti on the food. Help yourselves, and when everybody's got a plate, she holds up a crystal that Hazel and Clarity will find familiar because everybody else was way more distracted with the wings incident, so they didn't actually see what was happening with that. Will actually be showing the ceremony.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, and I'm probably going to have to tell the story of what happened with these after, because I think that was out of the little box when these happened. And various happy squeaking, yes, please, kind of thing.
They are gonna want to hear that.
Yeah, and you're going to have to help me because at least half of it I wasn't there for.
That is very fair.
So yes, food is dished out, and Twilly kind of holds up her hands. The crystal kind of floats in between them, and instead of small silent image, it's kind of more like a projector thing on a bit of wall. You know, you guys get to see the ceremony again and the various bits that you added to the proceedings, and Rylan gets to see it for the first time, which is, I mean, they do look incredibly happy and really pretty, both of them actually. And Remy in her quasi-military finery, and Alice even without the perma wings, very much looking the celestial at that point. And towards the end, Alice points at the circlet that she's wearing, and that one going, and that's why the wings. But when you're done watching your sister be priestly, we'll explain more about that. And yeah, Hazel's getting basically glommed by the kids because Remy and Alice say they had to get married, and that was that was great for them and everything. But they're just so proud of their big sister. Help! Miranda's like, there is no helping the pride of your young siblings. Besides, you love every minute of it.
I do. Oh no.
Yeah, that finishes up, and the storytelling begins. You do have a terrible lot of people asking questions. Skylar sort of ambles up to Rylan and goes, "You weren't there."
It's like still awestruck, but able to shake his head and no.
You joined them after.
They found me after this.
I thought you found them, or you found each other, or
Yeah, we found each other. That's probably the best way to put it.
yeah, that's a story in and of itself. But you should get Rylan to tell you that one. Rylan doesn't tell enough stories. And you've got Skylar, who's actually wearing her scale mail, which is a burnished steel to look a bit like platinum, with a blue surcoat with a platinum dragon emblem on the front. She's just ambling around in 6-year-old shaped scale mail and just looking at you with the please expression.
I was looking for them, actually, at first. They were going through the Elven Wild, and I asked to be sent out to help find a gaggle of, I don't even know what to call them, heroes? Mystics?
Adventurers, at least.
They're adventurers.
Heroes, too. They've done heroics. They brought Star Coast back to life.
Oh, did they now?
You're gonna have to get one of them to tell that story, too. We only got bits, and only because Farideh listens at Windows.
Ah.
And Farideh is just... I need to know things!
Somehow I am unsurprised by this.
Well, I should be having adventures.
And you will get to. I am sure of it.
One day.
One day, yes.
So where did you find them?
In the vault. I actually passed them by accident and got to the vault first.
The vault. Farm
Silver
kids.
Vault,
It means a silver vault. It's just
The silver
enormous
world's biggest library.
Not just a library. Barnabas, wax lyrical about the war table.
It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It like the whole battle, you had like a god's eye view of it, but it was miniature, and I got to figure out if there's a way to reproduce that because it was incredible. Like it was miniaturized, but down to such detail, it was ridiculous. It was, I don't know how that gets done, but you could see everything.
And Ree said something about how if you moved your hands a certain way, you could, like, get a closer look at a specific bit of battlefield.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
like
could.
zoom in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, out of character, I avoided that word because zoom function is... Zoom is fast here!
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That could be a word you have in Ravnica, so you've got a whole bunch of kids going. And Evan from the rafters, Zoom is fast!
Pod?
Zoom means fast.
Oh.
Bit like
Oh.
me with the boots.
Oh, no. Well, where I'm from, it means actually, to bring, like, view closer, kind of thing.
Oh, so to go closer fast, like, without having to actually move.
Right.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like,
Because you
like
weren't moving, so it does definitely means you didn't have to move.
right,
Like a
exactly. It's like using a spyglass kind of thing.
Skylar is just two planes separated by a common language.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong
Interesting.
at
Makes
all.
me wonder what kinds of like ways to look at stuff you have back home, back in your original plane that resulted in that kind of wording.
Well, I know both the ISIT and the STEMIC like using. They call it like a microscope. It lets you see something really small, like really, really. I have no idea how.
Farideh actually speaks up, yeah, because micro is tiny, and scope is see. So you see the tiny thing.
Exactly.
We don't have a thing that does that, but I bet Egref does. Egref seems to have everything.
If you've never seen it before, but you can think it up, yeah, probably.
I can think up a lot of things.
You're gonna love Egref.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and meanwhile, you've got Zana and Oscar kind of nudging Remy in the general direction of the food table, going, Mom made some Belarasi specialty dish things, and
Ooh.
Mama spent about a month up north, so you can show Alice the bits from up where it's really, really cold.
I will. Thank you.
And yeah, currently Alice is in the middle of telling her part of the wings debacle, just sort of going, and Remy turns around to me and she does the voice. That will let you fly your wings significantly longer.
I was right about that.
Yes, we were getting to that. Stop stepping on my lines.
Arguing like a married couple already.
Well, yes.
I mean, they are, so...
To be fair, we were pretty much like this from probably just a tiny bit before the whole resurrection thing.
Ah.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, I was obviously speechless, but she couldn't give me any more details beyond significantly. So apparently, I was going to be testing for quite the audience. You know, as far as bards go, having like every looky-loo and eggref watching me test this thing was something. I'll tell you that much. But I did whatever it is that happens in me that activate the wings, and nothing happened beyond this kind of painful, itchy sensation around about my shoulder blades. So I go, ow, and Rhea is right in the middle of saying what when these rip straight out of my back. And then there's Rebby, just... that is not what I meant when I said significantly. I'm letting her explain exactly where that went.
No. Where do I start?
Possibly with the making thereof, because Oscar looks like he's going to vibrate through the floor.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. So, a while ago, Zerial hinted that there were ways to let Alisa summon her wings longer. I guess he wanted to give his own present. So, I eventually met a Dragonborn cleric of Pelor in Agref, and of course, of all the places to find someone who would know about crafting items of a holy nature, it would be at a temple in Agref. And we had a very good discussion. He also knows a lot about Asimar, so that was all very fortuitous. And he
There's a couple of the Farideh, Skylar, and Lissy who are just sort of going, okay, we're not going to have Asimar 101 right now, okay? Thanks for that, Ree.
So he made the circlet, and then we did a ritual of sorts to empower it, and I participated and channeled some of Zerial's power, and between the three of us, I guess in a sense we channeled more than I had expected, and well, I think Zerial knew what Alisa really wanted and what I really wanted to give her. And just it's a little bit of a surprise.
Skylar is like, the gods really, really like you guys.
So I've observed.
You've been very lucky, yes.
Well, yes and no, I guess. Mama says that there's a blessing and curse that says may you gain the notice of those in high places. May you live in interesting times, and may your every wish come true.
No, we've been asked
This one
to do a lot.
sounds like yikes.
What is everybody's passive perception out of interest? I know what.
11.
Yeah, I know what Froseth is, but
13.
The rest of y'all I tend to
16.
forget. To be honest, the only thing I really remember about Froseth's is lots.
18.
Yeah, that's right, 18.
Jesus.
I knew it was up. I thought it was 17, so 18, never mind.
11.
12.
Anybody who's got more than a 15 or hearing something that you do not tend to hear in wintertime? Thunder.
That just happened.
What happened?
Now that you're all listening for it, there's a flash at the window and...
What the?
What?
That's not
Only
normal.
Remy goes to the window.
It looks stormy out there, except heavy snow instead of rain, the way it's supposed to be.
Oh no.
I don't
How
think it's...
bad is this?
I don't think it's bad, it's just weird. Not all weird is bad, guys.
Well, I mean, just
Gestures at the wings for emphasis is just...
given where we're going, concerning. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but no, but we dealt with blue already. This is blue.
Point. Okay. Right. It's only this because of the cold. Right. Okay. Well, weird.
Yeah, normally, I mean, we do get that sometimes up north, but only at the coast and at the border between just Ambach and Zlator,
Yeah, the cold threw me off because I've seen the Star Coast. There's been big like that, but not snow,
we
so that's weird.
we normally say that it's Talos getting into an argument with Oral.
Okay, I can see that.
Well, it's one of those Oral throws tantrums because she doesn't like the hot air entering anywhere like her domain, and Talos does storm activity to stop her from throwing a complete fit or something. It's one of those bits of mythology to explain weirdness in weather that shouldn't normally happen. Well, I hope this clears up before tomorrow.
Fingers crossed.
Guess we'll see.
I mean, we have to travel in it anyway, but...
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
definitely hope it clears up.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because that sounded like a thoughtful
More of a, I don't want to travel in thunder snow.
I like that.
That is it. And both the bards are just really impressed with the phrasing.
Yeah.
Completely out of character. That's what it's called around here in Buffalo. I mean,
Yeah, but
I think I've heard that too, but it's been for so long, and I've been out of the north for so long that I didn't remember it. So, yay!
and to be fair, you don't normally get quite this much lightning in thunder snow.
nah. Back home, this sort of thing's always a bit. It has unnatural causes generally back home. I don't know around here.
Oh, I guess it depends on how natural you think the gods are as far as the myths I know go. Because, I'm sorry, you guys don't have gods. I don't know. Except for the one that you said was looks around at the kids jerk. Which point you got Skylar padding up to you. What do you mean you don't have gods?
Oh no.
Oh boy!
Oh no.
Just hands over the Bahamut symbol on her surcoat. Just, what do you mean you don't have gods?
Well, where I'm from, they're basically unknown. They don't. Nobody worships them. No, they don't interact. I don't even know if they could see that.
Well, closes her eyes for a minute. Bahamut, I don't know if you could see him before you came here, but he's here now. So please be nice to him. Thank you.
Thank you.
That just sort of gives him a hug. Hey, you got blessing from born paladin, basically. So there you go.
All right.
At which point Skylar's like, what do your paladins do? Do you have paladins? What about clerics? And Miranda actually turns around and goes, actually, we did have I've known at least 2 clerics who weren't actually the clerics of gods.
It's philosophies, usually.
She's 6.
So they just think they're spells?
Faith. It's all about faith.
But what?
Fair. Okay, that does make
Clause,
sense.
a concept. It doesn't have to be a deity, I don't think.
Thank you, Hazel.
If
That
you
makes a
just
lot of
have
sense.
enough faith in something,
Yeah.
it becomes real.
Well, yeah, that does actually make sense. I mean, there's faith in people. Yeah, Jenna. Yes. Okay, that makes total sense.
So they'd be clerics of, say, honesty instead of the god of honesty. Is that
Easier to lose faith that way, though?
Yeah, there's a lot less clerics where I'm from. They're not unheard of, but they're not common.
Farideh is just fewer. Clerics are discrete entities, and so it's fewer. Less is for arbitrary concepts. Fewer coins, less money.
Fewer
You
clerics, less faith. Darwin
Exactly.
sits there looking proud of himself.
So at which point Skylar is like, somebody had the fancy education.
And when I paid attention.
Actually clambers up onto a bench, pat him on the head.
Blushes a little.
We can fill you in on anything you didn't pay much attention to. Mom and Mama are really good about teaching things.
I would really appreciate that.
And so is Lyra. And she taught Hazel faith. And other stuff.
Darwin's got this look on his face like, this is utterly silly, and I should be laughing my ass off, but at the same time, this is hitting a chord I didn't know I had.
At which point sits down and asks, so what did you guys all do for education? I'll start. From Alice, I got just enough letters and numbers to get by from my parents, and then I hid out in libraries a lot. So I taught myself a whole lot of stuff. We know what Hazel's education was. Mr. Barnabas?
I was trained, taught by the guild my parents were a part of. They had their own school system.
Wow. Neat.
I mean, that pretty much almost all the guilds do have one. There's a couple free ones for charity cases. It's all over the place, basically.
I think they have something like that in Belarus, but I only found out about that when it was too late for me to actually take advantage, so. By then, I basically read through a fair bit of library, and I was pretty much okay. Besides, I was getting out of Belarus because of reasons.
Schools in Belarus. My parents sent me to one. I don't know if fortunate enough that cost wasn't, an issue.
At which point, Skylar's like, they sent you to one. Does that mean you actually learned anything in it?
It's not like I went to the school for long, numbers and reading, history, and I wasn't planning to become a wizard, that was for sure. So I started looking to other kinds of teachers. That's how I learned to use a sword.
At which point, Alice leans down to Skylar. Basically, what happened, as far as I've been told, was she got seen by a dwarf of my acquaintance hitting a lamppost with a stick, and decided that she needed better form.
He was right about that.
Just looking at Remy. We should spar.
We certainly could.
Twilly is just, I think I can probably find a practice sword in your size. Because you're not using that thing you got from Jenna. Well,
That
no,
would be a
because
good idea.
I can't be a paladin if you snicker snack me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story that Mom read us once. Somebody in Egref writes real weird.
I'm not surprised.
Falling down rabbit holes and through mirrors and a sport called croquet, which you play with flamingos and hedgehogs. And you use the flamingo beak to hit.
That just sounds ungangly. Or no, gangly.
I'm gonna play.
Unwieldy. And gangly.
But wouldn't you feel bad for the poor hedgehogs?
And the flamingos. It sounds like it would
Yeah.
hurt. I mean,
But that sounds really fun.
Milla is
No,
being
Clarity, that track.
entirely put out by this. Hedgehogs.
I'd ask them first.
Considering whimsy, you probably could.
Well,
She holds up.
Yeah, Alice is like, we know she can. And Bella's just, do you really think that any hedgehog asked, is it okay if I hit you repeatedly with the beak of a big pink bird, is gonna say yes?
I might if I were a hedgehog.
Clarity, can you make me a wisdom saving throw, please?
This'll go good. Hold on.
I mean, you can, if you want to be a hedgehog, you can deliberately fail.
oh damn, not 20.
Oh, there you go.
Yay!
At which point you've got Jaloy and Sylvan going, I wanted to turn you into a hedgehog! We can't hear you. Ah, there we go.
Okay. Who's going to be the flamingo, though?
Not it. The rabbit was enough. I'm not it.
At which point, Twilly sighs, gestures, Clarity, hedgehog, Hazel. Some of you don't really know what a flamingo is. You've got big, pink, leggy, long-necked bird.
Oh.
Sorry, I did suddenly very panicked looking.
gods.
I'm sorry, with Twilly, I'm not making the all roll wisdom saves because she's epic. I'm not doing the hitting. I'm a little bit short for that sort of thing.
Clarity's trying to roll into a ball.
Clarity can roll into a ball.
Still just absolutely baffled by existence.
Alice say, okay, fine. None of the tall folks are really tall folks are gonna do it, so I guess the next best thing is me. Grabs Hazel by the legs.
Again, too shocked to react.
Yeah. Hold yourself as stiff as you can.
Do I have the brain power to process this? Because
Yes.
polymorph changes my mind stats.
Yeah, I think you're probably rigid in shock anyway.
Yeah, just too boggled by by sudden state of flamingo.
And whap, and little ball of Clarity Hedgehog, boink, 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 down the corridor.
I'm going.
Well, you can't really do that because hedgehogs don't make a terrible lot of noise. But just boink, 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 boink. Yeah. Happy now?
I uncurl and sort of bounce.
Puts Hazel back down. Are we changing them back, or do I have to take another swing? No, I think if we play too much creature croquet, somebody is going to end up in the stew pot, and I don't think anyone would be particularly happy with that. So, and Clarity is in heap on floor, and Hazel is still just
Like,
I'm a little dizzy, but it was fun.
new experiences for everybody. There you go.
who am I? What am I? How am I?
Alisei walks to the table, grabs what appears to be a burrito, basically, walks up to Hazel and shoves it in her face. This should remind you who you are.
When in doubt, food solves everything.
Particularly spicy food. So yeah. Ooh, hey! And Kits actually now notices the northern specialties. How did you guys have enough spices for this? We have a very small gate to Egref, and they get everything. Plus multiple cousins who owe me favors, so.
Right, the Legion.
Hey, by the way.
They're vibing is the best way to describe it.
Oh, you've picked up some Egref slang. Wonderful.
They were all at they were all at the wedding.
Well, we did see there was a bit of a crowd, and at the very least, you had all right, a little bit to remove, but you had guests that everybody's family instead of just yours. And Alisei is just and don't think that's not weird. Okay, who's? Oh, that was coming from Nom's end, I think.
What?
Yeah, you got a little bit of fuzz from background.
Yeah, just like background air.
Not
Staticky.
anymore, but it
Not
was
terrible.
briefly. Nah. But it's just the things I tend to notice because you have very good headphones. Yeah, don't think that's not weird. I mean, some of y'all actually got raised by parents. Or facsimiles thereof. But I think I'm going to just stick with parents because parents... Hazel doesn't consider the biological.
Yep.
So, there's a couple of us who weren't raised so much as trained, I guess. So, it's probably a little weird.
Yeah, but it's a good kind of weird, right?
It takes more getting used to than these, I gotta say. It's, I think it's partially because I go away and then I come back again. Wow, did I ever put a damper on this particular celebration? Which point you've got the Skylar sitting next to Rylan. So why don't you tell what North was like for you?
Well, first part of it, before I found these folk were somewhat quiet. Sure, I had people with me to help guide me around in the snow, because snow is not a thing where I am from.
They do get some snow in the Elven Wild. You're just usually above it
Not
in
this much.
tree house. Yeah. Skylar is. I guess it was quiet because the people in the north talk with their hands.
They don't really like to speak much.
Mel as well know because sound carries over snow, and there's a lot of deadly stuff out there, as far as I know.
Well, that, and if
We were
they
also
can't
warned
do any
about
noise because
avalanche.
Yes.
Mhm.
But when they bewildered look at avalanche, Alice say silent image, avalanche. Oh.
Yeah, big
No
s-
tsunami.
Cool in that.
big sound can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I
There's
had to keep my mouth
So
vibration.
they
shut for
choose
once.
not to sound.
Skylar looks at Darvin and just goes, I was actually a bit more surprised about Hazel.
Fair.
She
Fair point.
it says you talk a lot, but you don't normally talk really, really loud, whereas Hazel has that noise that transcends sound and it breaks stuff
Yes.
or
Oh,
can
good
break
point.
stuff, so
Yes, good point.
is that why you haven't been doing that so much lately?
I've also been just making an effort to do that less because everybody's ears start making popping sounds when I do that.
Yeah, because Alice says, because the last time you did it directly in my ear. You know, that was a thing that happened.
Yep. And so I'm trying to make sure people's hearing, stays functional and not exploded.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Also, I had a thought that might get this party off the accusatory phase. Didn't we all have presents for people?
Ah, yes.
I'm gonna go I'm gonna go to Fort Cupcake and pick up bits. Does anyone want me to pick up theirs?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. I will be right back. Opens door. Massive gust of wind and okay, this is gonna be fun. Slam.
Oh boy.
There's a bunch of the kids sort of peering out, going, "We normally only get this with rain."
It seems to have gone up a level? This is weird. I agree.
And a few minutes later, a rather ruffled-looking Alice, carrying her bag of holding, comes back in. I tried flying. This will henceforth be known as mistake number 1.
How many snowbanks did you hit?
It wasn't so much the snowbank, updraft, tree.
Oh, so you hit
Yeah,
a snowbank that was
when
up.
you look, you notice that the braid that her hair is in, it's still hooked with with her old gold clips, is full of twigs and pine needles.
Remy will go to remove some twigs.
And confetti. Yeah, there's gonna have to be epic brushing later, but yeah, you want to stand back a bit, Ray, because I couldn't do this out there, so I promise I will sweep up. And stands by the door and shakes various bits of twig and pine needle out of her wings. There is a lot to adjust to with these. They are great, but okay, I didn't know who had what, so I've got your bag of holding and your bag of holding and everybody else's bags. So it basically pulls out everyone's bits and pieces and starts handing out her various bits and pieces to the kids. Basically, we were thinking of you while we were out.
Yep.
Actually remembers to give Tully and Miranda the little model of the of the railway station clock in Egref. Ooh. That thing's still going. Well,
Very much.
I suppose I did throw meteor swarm at it at one point, so I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. The kids
I'm
are all
sorry,
just
what?
looking at her. Alice is like, okay, you know that Calatiel told us that it was tested with chucking meteor swarm at it.
Uh,
Yeah, I just wasn't entirely ready for it to be
I suppose if it was going to be anybody.
Abjuration may
Good
be
point.
my specialty, but it's not the only thing I can do.
very
Clearly
good
you
point.
know every single end of evocation, and probably some magic that most people don't, on top of that.
Twilla's prismatic cage, I'm calling it. Once things are a little bit more settled, I may actually have to go to the Eggriff Academy first, then the Belrace Academy, and actually present that properly. But anyway, I don't go around preparing that sort of spell all the time. I find things like prestidigitation and so on much, much more useful in my current day-to-day life.
It's all in the application.
Well, yes, but
You can do a lot with, prestidigitation, actually. A little creativity.
Twilly is just looking at him. Do you know when I first learned that spell? I was younger than Farideh is now. And you do remember how old I am?
Sorry, no disrespect was meant. I apologize.
Ruffles Darvin's hair. I'm only doing this to remind you to think before you speak, because other people might actually get offended, whereas I am just vaguely amused that you do occasionally... I mean, you're very proud of what you can do, and that's wonderful. But there's also a certain amount of remembering that other people have more experience than you, because then they can teach you things.
Yeah, that came out all wrong. That was not the intent. I apologize.
And gives him a hug. Hopefully he'll remember this time. Does anybody actually remember what they gave the kids? Because I know that Barnabas got the kids various jigsaw puzzles.
I will probably need a refresher just to make absolutely sure.
Take notes on what y'all were buying. That's down to you.
Yeah, because I will need to double check my stuff because I either got gifts or helped everyone else get them.
I know that Ava got sweets
We
for...
built the penguin, I think.
Yeah, the penguin and some sweets from the Eggriff Sweet Shop. I think everybody got sweets from the Eggriff Sweet Shop for the kids.
Yep. I also sent it. I think I sent ahead most of mine because there were the assortments of little. There was a specific. It was like a bag of. It was like a camp, basically a campsite in a can, and that was for Mom and Mama.
Yes, but you never did actually arrange to send them on ahead.
Gotcha. So I still have
You
that.
said you were gonna, but you never did. Also,
Then, yeah, I'm just
also
like
the hat,
processing.
Darvin, the hat. For Evan.
Yes, and yes. So, yeah, he'll going through the bag, going, I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. Evan,
Pat.
Now, you're gonna have to grow into it. You will. I know. Don't give me that look. I know. I'm not that dumb.
It's just no, Uncle Darvin, this is my waiting face.
Oh, okay. Just reaches in with both hands, grabs the hat from either side, just up and punk.
And because he is very, very small, but basically covers him entirely. If you just get little feet.
Darwin's like,
Taking
actually, you know what?
opportunity to
Do I need to
sidle
make
up
a
to Mom
deck
and
save to
Mama.
find out whether or
Guys,
not I'm
one
still
at
in
a
my seat?
time!
Sorry.
Darvin first.
Do I need to
Sorry,
make a deck
Ethan's-
save to see if I'm still in my seat? I'm laughing so hard.
If you have to ask, then no, you're just on the floor.
Fair enough. I'm on the floor.
Hazel!
Oh, jeez.
I'm just going to take the opportunity while Darvin is cackling like a lunatic to sidle up to Mom and Mama. Reach into bag, produce the campsite in a can.
And Twilly is just, I haven't seen one of these in decades. Thank you.
And I've also got sweets for everybody, but also
At which point, Twilly,
multi-tool.
yeah. Oh, your Uncle Roderick came up with that.
Good God. Good
Yeah,
dear
the-
sweet
the
Taylor,
quick flights
wow.
aren't involved
Guys, one at a time. Sorry, Ava, didn't hear you.
in. Is there anything at this point that the quick flights aren't involved in?
Not in Egref, dear. Do you remember how many halflings were at that wedding?
That is true.
Quick Flight Clan is huge!
Most halfling clans are. It's just that when you have them in a city the size of Egref, you don't necessarily notice that they are a clan, but they're all over everywhere. I mean, Lyra and I are distantly related.
Which makes you related to a certain chaos engine.
Only by adoption. Not that that's not valid, but I'm not responsible for that one.
Yeah,
At which point,
that's
kids
which
are
is good, 'cause-
sidling up to Hazel going, who?
Oh boy.
Miranda, just you started this, Hazel. You can figure out a way out of it.
I'm going to at least try to explain the entirety that is Alley Sweetwater now.
Yeah, a couple of them are getting way too much in the way of ideas. And given Hazel's wisdom, she's probably noticing.
Just look, this is not a tale of what to do. This is a tale of what not to, because half of her inventions either melted entire floors or got jumped into the middle of very important meetings
You
and
bought
completely
the stuff that melted part of the floor.
Yeah, in fact, I still have the stuff that kind of went through the floor. I'm just not using that unless it's a very, very.
Kids. Show me.
We're gonna have to go outside for this, and I don't think going outside right now is a good idea.
The windows are rattling, by the way. It's still pretty stormy out there.
Yeah, because I want to show you, and I will at first opportunity. Just, I don't want to do that in here because it would make parts of the floor not be floor.
For a while.
And I'd like our
Apparently,
floor to stay floor.
the floor comes back, if I remember right. But hey, kids, look at it this way: do you want to put a hole in Shannira's ceiling, even for a little while? No. There you go.
Thank you.
If we don't have to use it for an emergency, she can demonstrate it for you some other time.
See? And that's a promise.
Okay.
I mean, the other things that Allie made that ultimately got her booted out of even Belarus and hauled down into the mines in Egraf.
I got her shipped up north after that.
Yeah,
There were
that's
a bunch of
right. I forgot.
Well, they looked like what would happen if you took a teddy bear and made it half parrot, and then made it evil.
Like a tiny Farideh, like a tiny evil owlbear.
Exactly.
Why were
And they
they
spat
evil?
like little acid things and kept yelling.
No, when you tried to kick them, they exploded into acid gel
Oh, right, yeah, they
things.
blew up, which
They
is
just-
actually
they just-
worse than this than
They just
spitting.
repeated what people said you guys were telling me.
Yeah. Yelling the same stuff that they heard about a few seconds ago, and every time we tried to get them away, they blew up and just acid everywhere.
And
Tiny
this-
walking bombs.
You've got Oscar going, neat!
No, not neat.
Yes, neat!
I mean, okay.
Yes, neat, but also very dangerous.
Yeah.
At which point, Alice says, Oscar, and she pulls out the circlet. Let me show you this.
See, because that's more neat.
He's not listening to you anymore. Alice A just looks up and it's like, if you really want to distract him getting all on jewelry, you know that. And at which point, Oscar does start asking Remy a whole bunch of questions because Remy saw it being made. He just doesn't entirely understand that someone might not have paid that much attention. So he's asking for all bits of all little technical detail bits that Remy just called.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately not a goldsmith. I mean, the cleric, he's he probably was in Agra for a long time learning how to make things like that. What I did was more the instinctive side of channeling a
But
blessing.
didn't you watch? It must have been so neat.
Yeah, I did watch, and it was very neat. It was just the details are quite over my head.
I'll say rescues Remy with here. Why don't you have a look at it and see if you can figure out how it was made? Just don't take it apart because I don't know what that would do. No, it's way too pretty for that.
Mm-hmm.
And pulls out a jeweler's loop and starts investigating things. And Xana sits next to him and says, "Don't worry, we will go to Egref. I'm sure that Mom can get us to the academy when we're older, and then we can learn how they made the really neat clothes and how they made the really neat jewelry, and then we can open up that shop we always wanted to. But we got to be older first."
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of get from Skylar. It is hard though. I mean, for some of us more than others, but
You'll
I
get
mean-
there before you know it. Don't you worry.
did you in the kind of ways that moms try to push aside entirely fair disappointment? I know you mean well, but a year feels longer for us than it does for you. It's more of our lifespan. Farideh looks at her. You've been spending way too much time around me. No such thing.
Sorry. Didn't really think about it that way.
No, that's because you're older and you can have adventures. But some of us kind of already want to be there, and some of us should have been there already, but kind of aren't because really complicated reasons. And Farideh is just. I try not to be disappointed about it. I've always been told I'm mature for my age. Except my age is kind of not it. Honestly, I feel more bad for Froseth. I at least had family. And now I get two of them and he doesn't have one. Except, not one he grows up with anyway. At which point Alice says, like, Froseth, you got her word puzzles, if I remember right. Ooh, Alice is just trying to keep this moving on. it passed some of the. And if I recall correctly, skeletal model of a manticore,
That's what it was,
Clarity
yes.
got for
Yeah,
the candor.
I had showed it to him earlier.
But now that presents are being poked at, he's looking at this, going, "How did they figure this out?
Mm.
Did they actually take one apart?
They must have.
Either that, or they got really weird versions of Silent Image. I don't know."
How would they know how to put it together?
Well, I mean, if then Sunshine's really good at staying still as long as I'm not too ungentle. But if you press, you can feel. I mean, he actually takes Clarity's hand. This is the first time he's willingly touched anybody that you know about, and puts it on his wrist and goes, if you press down, not too hard, but you can feel where joints and things are. Harder with some things than others. I mean, if it's just skin, it's pretty easy, but fur is a little hard to reach through depending on how thick it is, and I haven't tried with scales. I mean, not scales that are. Fairy dragon scales are really small and kind of bendy, so I guess they kind of have to be.
I know some fat cats that it would be difficult to do this with too.
Ow!
Speaking of whom,
I knew.
Yeah, the look is, I am not fat, I am fluffy. This is he's being fed leftover snippets by various of the kids.
speak of the devil.
Hi, Pim. It's, when Rylan, who obviously hadn't been in Egref for the various bits of shopping, does get Skylar kind of padding up. She pads into her room, she pads back out again, and she comes out with. It's a really weird kind of creature, plush creature. It's got a tail like a beaver, webbed feet, also kind of like a beaver, but it's got a beak like a duck. And she hands it to Rylan.
What is this exactly?
It's a plushy platypus. Mama made it for me, but she's made me a plushy dragon now. And so,
Wow.
Perry should belong with you.
Damn it!
He needs
Just died.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I know, I'm right there with you, dude. Barely the platypus. I knew I wanted it so much.
I was still wanting to puss.
Glad we all momentarily shared a brain cell about this plushie.
Because Phineas and Ferb is a goddamn
Although
great cartoon. Anyway.
But it does look more like an actual platypus. So.
Thank
Green.
you.
You're welcome. Everybody else was getting niceties, so you needed to have niceties too. I mean, I know you don't go to bed hugging things, but you have a chair to trance in, and so you can hug it there, I guess. I don't really know how full elves work.
We are a very strange bunch indeed.
No kidding.
It's a laptopus? Trying to somehow combine lap and platypus. It didn't really work. Never mind.
You have Skylar looking at you like. Wanders over to the table, takes a little individual strawberry shortcake, and then just puts it in Darvin's mouth. It goes back to they basically now got the various gifts in piles, and Dawn is hugging this penguin plushie so tightly that it looks like the little bobble hat on it's just gonna pop right off. And so, yeah, the storm is still raging when bedtime happens, and given that it's late and kind of loud, and getting to Fort Cupcake from Hearth Home house kind of thing is a little bit tricky. You actually had Alice tucking her wings in very, very close to her so the gusts aren't picking her up. The snow is actually getting fairly deep at this point. It's just blowing into drifts by various doors. Thankfully, your door is facing away from it, so you can open it reasonably well. But it's blowing, and the lightning and thunder coming right on top of each other means the storm is directly above you. It's weird, but it doesn't feel bad. It just feels potent. I have a feeling that trying to have any kind of conversation is gonna have to wait until morning and we know whether we can go anywhere. So I recommend we get some sleep and we'll see where we are in the morning.
Sounds good to me.
Agreed.
Sounds very good.
Sleep, trance, platypus hugging, and I think there are some books in there. If Rylan looks at the little bookshelf, he'll find a hand-bound, kind of old, but small book that's basically it's like a children's book, but it's listing the children of Hearthhome. There's some blank pages at the end, so they just keep adding little, rhymed sections for everybody that Hearthhome has adopted, in mostly adult handwriting. You don't know them well enough to know which of the moms it was, but there's some fairly well-drawn sketches of each of them, and somebody's been in recently enough to at least add your picture. They're still waiting for to get to know you a little better before writing anything about you, but apparently the entire family has decided that you are one of them now. So, Rylan has a little time to familiarize himself with the adoptees of Hearthhome and count themselves among them, sort of. And probably getting some kind of idea of what to tell Hearthhome about themselves to fill in the blanks, because they're clearly going to want to. They're not going to take no for an answer, so you might as well just get in ahead of the game. And so, yeah, with the with the storm overhead and things a little uncertain for the next morning, y'all sort of go and get some sleep. And when we come back, you'll see what the result of that is going to be. And we're back. The evening of the thunder snow. Darvin has a very tiny fragment of Bahamut in his soul. Very, very tiny. Which is why he dreams interestingly that night. Apparently somewhat shared. He's seen Bahamut as the elderly gentleman with the 7 golden canaries. Not this time. He's not directly confronted with the gargantuan platinum dragon. It's a fairly long way away. And standing in front of this god, basically, 2 dragonborn figures. One tall male that you recognize, and one small female that you also recognize. The space is vast, empty snow plain, and the thunder and lightning are still raging all around. You cannot get any closer than you are. This isn't strictly meant for you, but because there is a bit of Bahamut in you, you kind of have to be there, is the general feeling. The thunder's too loud to make out most of what is going on. You have a feeling that Froseth and Farideh are hearing maybe only a little bit more than you are, despite being much closer. You catch snippets of mature for your years. Trained rather than raised. A choice can be made. The two Dragonborn look at each other for a moment and nod. The massive platinum wings swoop to cover them both. And just before you wake up, your passive perception isn't that bad. You get a sense of the storm itself speaking. Bring them the storm, child, no longer. Farideh. You wake up kind of cramped with the memory of the dream that wasn't fading, but still extant. You wanted your big little brother to have a choice in what he was going to be. And after all the conversation you'd had that night at the party, the offer that Bahamut and Talos apparently brought to you, both of you were pretty much in agreement with it, although Froseth had some things to say about being in danger. But you'd already fought the Black Nasty, and you just wanted to be big enough to do it right. And now you're kind of cramped into a bed that was not meant for a Dragonborn 6.5 feet tall. There is a cramp in your tail, and trying to stretch your head out, your snout bumps against that big pile of books that's by the lower shelf and over, and peeking upside down from the bunk bed on top of you, Skylar, who's looking at you upside down like, how much noise should I be making about this?
Um,
Let you decide how much noise you want to make about this. That nightgown isn't going to fit you anymore, is it? I should find you something to wear.
please do. I'm about seconds from dashing over to the place. Let's check on Froseth.
I think probably I should get you some clothes first.
Please.
Okay. I'll try not to say anything, but I'm gonna have to be in Froseth's room. So I guess I'm gonna figure out at least something. Because if you were going to go check on him, I have a feeling I know what I'm gonna find. It's hanging around with you. Makes you smarter. Rolls out of bed. With a cry of "Nobody panic!" and runs out the door. You've got the rest of the kids waking up like, "Oh, okay. Nobody panic, right?"
Right.
Okay. So yeah, when Remy wakes up, mostly to the sound of the front door banging open. She's generally the little spoon and looks at Alice's arm, which has some interesting new markings. They look a bit like the Steel Wind Strike tattoo that Froseth normally wears. She didn't have that when she went to bed last night. You know, you checked really extensively.
Good morning, wife.
Yeah, you have that
Sure.
turn. What?
There's markings on your arm that weren't there last night.
You know, I kind of thought that sudden and extensive changes to my body was going to stop when I finished puberty. I think we probably need to check on some things. And yeah, there's pitter patter of little feet, and as the front door opens up again, you get from the Skylar voice, "Nobody panic!"
Remy immediately checks her own arms and other body parts.
Nothing different about Remy. It's just that those she has that tattoo now.
And
Okay.
she look over the rest of Alice.
No, it's just the entire Steel Wind Strike tattoo, just across the arms, shoulders. Okay, and we've got Skylar yelling for people not to panic. Wait, what's going on?
And
Yeah.
we better get to it.
Yeah, the storm has stopped, by the way. There's a lot of snow, but the storm has stopped.
That's hopefully a good sign.
Yeah, I have questions. I probably need clothing.
Yes.
I don't generally care, but you know, people. Yeah, but Skylar pads back into the room, and Farideh is surrounded by the girls, desperately trying not to ask questions, because it doesn't look like Farideh has that much in the way of answers either. I got the pretty robe with the ocean thing, because you like the dresses.
That'll work for now.
Okay. I didn't say anything except I just told them not to panic. I think
Hopefully that has the required.
I don't know. I mean, I know that a couple of them aren't very good at mornings anyway. So, oh hey, isn't that the mark that Froseth usually wears on his chest? On the mark of the storm, which you do remember got transferred.
Yeah.
Hence Talos, the Storm Lord, telling you to bring them the storm.
Yeah, it is.
You're gonna go adventuring without me.
It seems that way.
I'll take good care of Froseth for you. He's adorable. I mean, he's a couple years older than me, but is adorable. Farideh is. I mean, she should. If she had lived, she would be in her late 20s, early 30s. But they decided not to take too much of your young adulthood away, so you're in your early 20s, probably about Clarity and Alice's age.
So, essentially, after getting robe on, it's attempting a mad dash out the door, but new limb length and everything. Probably a lot of stumbling and noise.
Yeah, so as everybody is starting to get dressed and thankfully at the very least your claws still get purchase on ice and things, so you're not falling over exactly. But the front door crashes open and Rylan is probably the first one actually up because Rylan wasn't sleeping. So when Skylar was going, nobody panic, Rylan left the room, and then a few minutes later, in comes... That is Farideh, but that is adult Farideh.
Oh dear heavens, what in the hell happened now?
This is
Still
panic.
figuring that out.
Probably.
At which point Alice leans out the door going, "Didn't Skylar say not to pet?" Okay, I guess I
Island's
see why
panicking.
now.
What is it?
I
And
mean, I'm not panicking, but I'm just really confused.
yeah,
Welcome to life with us.
this explains these. And holds
It
up.
does. Hi, Faraday. It does. Are you sure?
Well,
What else would it
I'm
be?
gonna go check on Froseth now.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, good,
knock,
good idea.
knock, knock, knock. Come in. Door open and Froseth in top of gi because the trousers aren't gonna fit. This keeps him moderately decent. Just about 8 years old, a little younger than Farideh was when. Is what you get basically.
Oh my.
I'm not awake yet, or is Froseth really small?
No, you're
That
awake.
is correct.
You're awake.
Yes.
I
What?
think I'm gonna let Farideh explain this. She was kind of the driving force behind most of it. Not that he
Wait,
didn't
so-
agree.
so George... Sorry.
Darwin is just watching all of this, looking like he's nursing a headache, but also not surprised in the slightest, but staying quiet because he doesn't remember all the detail, but he still has that feeling of this wasn't for me. I just happened to be in earshot, as it were. So
Okay, short version. Last night, Graham, we were given a choice. We agreed, and this.
A choice to what?
Voiced by who?
Alice looks at Darvin, judging by that expression, I'd say Bahamut.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well,
Oh.
Justice, I guess it probably didn't. Probably the little big sister and the big little brother was probably weird on a balance phase in a number of, given some of the things that were coming up in conversation last night. Okay, but and then holds up her arms. I guess because you're not a fighter.
I'm not going to be able to make use of those.
Froseth kind of points at the sword rack where the blade of 4 normally is. Currently, it's hanging off one of the pegs. By the sort of the string that the beads are on. It's a dagger now, because I'm not going to make you give that up. I think you're allowed to have that.
Okay. Pause for a moment. Grab it. Kind of look it over.
I'm gonna say Froseth explained to her what it did and how it worked because Farideh asks all the questions. She... This is how it's supposed to be.
It is just skipped forward a bit.
Froseth looks at you. Did that skipped forward a bit? Kind of expression.
Well, this was how it was supposed to be then. Now it's that whole bit just now instead of then.
Okay.
This is a lot to process.
Yeah, and Farideh, believe me, I understand. Not quite to this degree, but having your body suddenly change that much on you, I get it. I mean, and it sounds very much like you went into this with the certain expectation that you were gonna be coming with us.
One of us needed to be with you.
Yeah, that's a feeling I've been getting anyway.
Hmm.
But I think some explanations are going to have to happen with the rest of the family. I imagine the girls at least know what's going on, but
Yeah.
we're going to have to do something about clothes, both of you, and probably give you a day to get used to your adult legs.
Yeah. It growing that much that quickly, like I've read about the difficulty growing up and used to your limbs, but this is like
All at once, but believe me,
I can see the snow dusting. It's already soaking through, so you're probably gonna need to dry off at least a little.
Alice just does the prestidigitation gestures. I mean, it's not like she's gonna get cold, but these are the good ropes.
At what point do you people ever get used to all of the chaos?
that's the fun part. You don't.
Well,
Tuesday.
No, Faraday's got it right. That is the fun part. You don't.
I was gonna say I'd let you know when I run into it.
yeah, that's accurate. I mean, there was the entire thing that resulted from basal cell happening, and that was just one aspect of chaos, and now we have like about 16 more over the course of what? A month?
I've had 2 major changes to my physiology in the span of a month. Not that I'm complaining. This is going to be hella useful, but you
I mean, it
know,
looks kind of badass.
you wouldn't believe
have
what
no
it
idea.
does.
Yeah. Ooh.
I guess somebody decided that if anybody was gonna make the best use of it, it was probably gonna be me. That or it was considered fair since I was the one who negotiated it as payment anyway. Remember when Froseth got the permanent one, it was because I negotiated with Jarl Fortinbras to have him pay for it?
Yep.
So, I mean, otherwise it'd be Ree, but then you'd never get to see it. That would be really disappointing.
that is a good point.
Besides, you've got epic sort of dragon sneaker snack.
Hmm.
All right. This is too early. I'm gonna go make some coffee. Who else wants some?
I will make the coffee. I know how to brew this stuff. You can watch me and learn.
Okay.
Since Clarity is still not fully awake, I'm going to attempt to bridal carry.
I don't figure that Clarity is going to resist all that much, particularly given the differentials in your strength scores. Yeah, Farideh, if we're going to introduce you to coffee, we are going to get you one that's about half milk. Just because your body's probably not used to caffeine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't have coffee brewed by me right now.
There's gonna be a lot of excitement going around as is.
Yeah, but coffee, and Hazel, when you're done bridal carrying Clarity, it's entirely possible that given the fact that you've been their family the longest, you should probably explain to Twilly and Miranda exactly why they've got a new dragonborn adoptive son living with them instead of a new dragonborn adoptive daughter. Also, to see if they can do something about Farideh's dresses.
Yeah, I will definitely sort that out. I'm going to very carefully put Clarity in a chair and start heading out the door.
Is anyone going with Hazel just to see what's happening with that?
Follow.
Sure. Ryland's going. Just
Slowly,
kind of
but
curious.
Yeah. Well-
Farideh is going to stay in the smaller house where she can continue to process.
Processing is good. Process doing much the same thing, just being like, I mean, I did already do this, but it was a long time ago.
Ava.
Yeah.
Ava.
I think she's frozen, because that's not it. Oh, there you go. Moving now.
Come with.
Me for a sec.
Yeah, well, you froze on us, so.
All
So
right,
yeah, you're
I-
being summoned by Hazel.
Yeah.
Come on. Grab her. And if Clarity's also ambling along, I'm gonna...
And Brylan's trailing along behind you guys. Is anybody else going, or because I know that Barnabas and Alice are doing coffee, which means Clarity shuffling away from the coffee. Wow.
thought that they were making it in the other house, so
No.
I was not.
Nope.
So-
They have a small kitchen in the smaller house, and that's where they are making the coffee.
Oh, okay, then she's gonna stay.
Okay.
So I'm
it's Hazel, Ava, and Rylan, as far as I can tell.
Jeremy will help.
gonna
us.
grab each of them by the arms and turbo speed. Not boots, but noom.
Okay, all three of you give me a dex save. Because
Oh god.
it's made of snow. I mean, snowdrifts are...
9?
Rylan? Because she's
Oh,
got
I
you by
thought
the
it was-
arm.
Yeah, clicky the
no,
thing.
she got you. Yeah, she's
No,
got
I
you.
thought I thought Clarity was the one on the other arm.
No, she
Was-
decided
Clarity's
to
staying.
stay because this is where the coffee is.
Hence my lack of it. Oh jeez. And in snow.
Ava knows Hazel really, really well and knows how to disengage before Hazel overbalances and drags. Basically, Rylan goes down first and Hazel lands on top of Rylan. And Ava stays on her feet.
Hey,
That's
I'm gonna
why-
get off before you.
That's why you don't go turbo speed in thigh deep on Hazel snow.
Okay.
Hazel is now up,
Um,
and Rylan can breathe again.
You okay down there?
I'm going to
Just
get
like-
out of the imprint, reach back into the imprint, yank.
It's just
And-
like
And Rylan is now being
Quiet.
pulled out of the.
Are you always this accident prone?
Yes. I try not to be, but yes.
Yeah,
To know. Probably should have warned me about that.
We did. Several times.
Ava, no, Ava, not about this specifically. She is fibbing just a little bit.
Fine. Not about this kind of accident specifically.
Come on, let's get out of this cold.
Yes, please.
To be fair, you still have your furs. I'm assuming you at least
Yeah,
bundled
they
into clothes and furs.
the snow, so
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's pretty snowproof, those furs, because it has to be, because frozen waste, you know? So yeah, Hazel drags you into the house, and Twilly and Miranda is like, the little ones aren't saying what exactly is going on because, according to Skylar, they don't know the full extent, and it's better coming from the adult.
Well, honestly, we don't really know.
I'm going to be very blunt about this.
But
Deific, some kind of deity-related stuff involving Talos and Bahamut. Apparently Farideh and Froseth are now switched in terms of age.
I'm sure they'll both explain when they've become a little bit more accustomed to the situation. But we'll make sure that there's a bed clear in the boys' room.
So probably
Well,
need to do something with clothing.
Yes, I think that's probably more my department. Miranda? No, there is no way that I can retailor those dresses for someone that tall. Besides, I don't exactly know what kind of shape I'd be making it for, so better to temporarily enchant the clothing so that they will fit her. But she is going to have to come in to actually... I can do the base enchantment, but give us some time. It's probably a little bit strange. Also, I think Farideh has some clothes that are a bit more gender neutral, which we might be able to let Froseth have for the time being. And we'll do something similar with no, darling, those I can retailer. It's much easier to make them smaller than it is to make them larger. Fair enough. And Xana can have the scraps. Exactly. But we'll deal with Farideh first, because from the looks of you all, she is going to be going adventuring.
Yep.
Probably.
That
way.
Well, she did rather want to. And, honestly, though I doubt she'd admit it to him quite so much, she just feels bad that he never really got a choice of what he wanted to be when he grew up. Rylan, for your information, when he was evacuated from his homeland, he was left with a monastery of the Four Elements. When they said he was trained, or nodded at the idea of being trained rather than raised, there weren't really that many options. And we can provide all the options.
That you can.
We try to. Some of our little ones make decisions more than others. I'm going to go collect Farideh's clothing for the initial enchantments and try to explain to the little ones in such a way that they won't mob the poor woman. Or poor Froseth, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll adjust. Just, And you said Talos was involved. Oh.
I can understand it, yeah.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I guess she read all those spell books of mine for nothing.
Knowing her, she'll probably
So-
find them useful.
Not learning spells by learning spells, but
Whether it's dragon heritage or having a mark of a storm god stuck to her, I have a feeling that her magic's going to be a little more innate than mine. I suppose I gave her a good foundation, if that is the case.
yeah, I'm betting there's still plenty of learning to be had, even if it's inherent.
Probably, but I'll leave that to her once she's figured out the basics, I suppose. Right, clothing, enchantments. Miranda, why don't you gather the children and explain? Oh, you're sticking me. I'm about to do some very complicated enchantments here. You will just like me having to explain things to the children. Yes! Very well.
I'll go back and help make sure she's figuring out how legs work.
Just don't be too you at her.
Do my best.
No, don't be too you at her. Remember how it was with you when you first had your very big change of being here.
I
Gently.
got it.
Lyra taught you all about gently, you know that.
Yep.
Just don't make a big deal out of it. Farideh never likes it when people make too much of a fuss.
It's like that's a thing for those two.
I
Just
was gonna say
the
first
entire
talking about
family, it
them.
seems.
I don't think that's something you inherit, but you never know. Just let her know that we're dealing with her wardrobe and we'll make sure that everything is travel sturdy. Are you going to be joining us for breakfast? Or is that going to be too much people for them?
I mean, I'd have to ask. I want to, but I'd have to ask.
If not, we'll set up a tray for you to bring in.
You got it.
Although I don't think you'll be able to keep Skylar away. She apparently knows more about it, but she's also... Well, you know what she's like with those two.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for letting us know. We'll get things sorted. Meanwhile, Miranda sort of gathered everybody up into the boys' room, and a whole bunch of excited squawking indicates that, yeah, they know what's going on now. And there is a certain amount of, you will calm down, all of you. And you know that voice. You've heard Mama use that voice.
Oh boy.
Oh, good
If
heavens.
anyone's still vibrating after that, I think it's vibrating more in panic.
Probably.
And Twilly's like, shoot, off you go.
Come on.
I've got so many things to do now. You're...
We'll be out of your way.
Well, she's already in the girls' room, but probably digging through various of Faraday's, clothing items.
Mom can dash like rogues can. That's all I'm going to say. I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, and by the time you guys get back, there was coffee. Basically just the coffee at this point because they don't know what's happening with breakfast. Also, a mug of milk and a mug of very milky coffee, which Alice is just like, I'm gonna bring these to Froseth and Farideh, kind of respectively, because I don't care if he used to be an adult. I'm not giving an 8-year-old this coffee, even if it's that diluted. Yeah, so when you guys come in, there's Clarity basically nursing her coffee, Barnabas enjoying his coffee, Remy and Darvin probably also enjoying their coffee and waiting. But yeah, Alice kind of pokes her head in and gives a knock on the door frame with a mug. Bunk, bunk, bunk. Do you guys have a second to accept milk and milky related coffee drinks?
Please.
Steps in. How are you guys coping? First, it's just... Yeah, in unison.
God, it is inherited.
It's a thing. Well, it'll take time to process, but
I'd recommend taking a couple of laps around the house when you're a little more settled. And yeah, that around the point at which Hazel, Rylan, and Ava come back in, it's Clarity waking up to coffee, and everybody else sort of just enjoying theirs. Then Alice peeks out. Any news?
They're working on Alice's Faraday's
Faraday's.
wardrobe.
Yay!
Hey, but that suits you though.
And they'll figure out something for Froseth as well. The kids seem pretty excited. They did want to know what they wanted to do about breakfast, if they wanted to go over there or stay here where maybe more private.
So they have warning. How did the kids sound when this got explained to them?
Oh, they
Big
sounded
excite.
Very big excite.
And Alice H kind of looks at Froseth and Farideh, and Froseth's just like,
Miranda was telling them to keep it, to not make a big deal out of it.
And that the voice was used. Erina, you
Farideh probably knows the
heard that
voice
at
better
least.
than Froseth does.
Deep breath.
Told them to calm down.
Head first. Let's just go in, get it all out.
Froseth's like, I'm. If that's what we're doing. But
Yeah.
I think we have to wait for everybody to have coffee first anyway. So seriously, have your very milky coffee. Out of character, she's made it so that Farideh won't need to do a Constitution save.
Good.
And yeah, just take a pace around so that. And I imagine that that's the tail length as much as anything else is probably also a thing. It's probably throwing your balance off.
Didn't really think about it running, but yes.
Yeah, thinking about it, you probably tripped over your tail at least once.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, take some time so that you're getting used to some stuff, because you'll probably feel better if you're not tripping over your own appendages. Believe me, I know. Just come out when you're ready. Goes back and sits down. Well, okay.
Going to be a day at least. I've decided to just start just cuddling Clarity while I'm doing this.
Unfortunately, we haven't got much longer than a day.
Yep.
I'd love to give them more time, but to be honest, I'm pretty sure that Farideh, at the very least, wouldn't take it anyway. She and her brother have a lot in common.
She did say head first.
Okay, so maybe not. No, actually, I can't say not like her brother, because some of the stuff I've seen him pull.
It doesn't mention that that's happening until it's happening.
Maybe we'll have advanced warning for some of the self-sacrificial. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. No, I like her. She's cool. It's fine. It's just... And honestly, I'm glad for Froseth. I'm glad from both of it's what makes them happy.
Here's to things working out well, says me.
Yeah, hoist her own coffee mug. Here's to that.
I'll drink to that.
Besides, it gives me time to give the kids moose rides around the front yard. I did promise, and I didn't really have time yesterday.
Glory to the power of legs.
Yeah, be careful about saying that around the people who have them in very different sizes than they went to bed with.
That one had layers.
That was delightful.
Dang.
Poor Froseth. He's gonna have to go through puberty all over again.
Well, he still seems pretty chill, so he had practice. He has practice at it now.
Truly, I think the choice matters more. More power to him.
And, honestly, more power to her. As far as I understood it from the Temple of Nerul, she'd been watching him. She's at least been aware of time passing, and then there she is as a 9-year-old.
Yeah, on a lot of levels, this is right. Getting used. I mean, everybody is getting used to things, obviously.
Yeah, but I'm not going to make a fuss out of it because I'm okay. I am one of the ones who's had some change, but nothing like what happened with them. So
Yeah, and I'm not, as in my own way. I've had a fair bit remembering the weird soul snap thing. That so.
yeah, I take it you were accidentally eavesdropping on this.
Yeah, because yeah,
But
it wasn't for me, so I wasn't gonna say anything outright. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good that somebody wasn't surprised. I know what it is to have everybody look at you like, what the fuck? So now there was one person who didn't. That must have helped.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah, good point. I wonder if
Behold, you are now the celestial soul, Yo-Yo.
I'm just kind of wondering, if it was just the connection, or if Bahamut let me view a little bit of that because of that connection, or through that connection at least, not because of it. Well, either way,
Ask Bahamut or ask Skylar.
both. But no.
Oh god, that means that Froseth and Skylar are going to be running around playing.
Oh dear, no, boy. Oh boy. Wow, and oh my
We're going to be
God.
getting into sparring matches, I predict.
Froseth actually gets to. Oh my God, Froseth actually gets to be rambunctious.
If he wants to,
I mean,
maybe he doesn't.
I know, but I mean,
Maybe he doesn't.
you're raised in a monastery. They're not exactly known for being that. So, holy goodness, I'm just imagining, thinking of all the opportunities and all of the things he could get. Yay!
more that'll get encouraged into with the rest of the kids.
Right.
That's something. But maybe we should
After
stop.
all-
Maybe we should stop talking about his upbringing when he's in the next room.
Right. That's right. Sorry. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, but let's let him get over the shock and let him be excited on his own. We should probably be focused on the fact that Farideh is a brand new adventurer with apparently enough power to be along with the rest of us for the first time.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we're going to find dragons.
Explanations.
Yeah, and we have
Look,
Are we sure?
Ava, gods are involved here. They wouldn't send her if she wasn't prepared.
Bahamut himself was in front of them.
And she has that mark. That mark of the storm that Froseth had.
Which, if you recall, Ava fired an entire chain lightning blast at least once.
And Hazel, Hazel and Rylan, that's probably around the time that you remember that Twilly was hinting that Farideh would probably be more on a ranged magical end.
Plus, Farideh was already headed towards wizardry. Now, it might not be precisely wizardry anymore, given the amount of deific influence, but it's definitely going to be magics. Lots of magics. Like, more of it than even I output or Darvin outputs, and we're the most direct casters here.
Probably about as much as I could hypothetically output.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're forgetting that we actually have a magic user dedicated. I know we're so used to having most of us be. This is actually better, guys.
Yeah.
There's going to be fewer of us right in the thick of things. Gives us a bit more space to maneuver.
Yep. And less likely for any giant kerbooms to land directly on all of us at once.
I suppose she
Because you'll
could
have
use
Clarity and myself in the middle ranges.
I guess Farida and I
Barnabas.
can take on a back line.
and
Yeah.
pointing to my hand.
Yeah. Honestly, Ava, also keep in mind
That's fair.
there are a lot of us, and there's no way we're gonna let her get hurt if we can avoid it. Same as we do for any of the rest of us.
That's what I mean by at least she'll be with us.
Yeah. I do feel bad about one thing though. She was gonna do that magical device thing with
Oh,
all the languages.
Yeah, the language thing. I wonder.
But we can help with that. We all know an awful lot of languages.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
That
we
is very fair.
we teach her them as we go and let her work it out from there.
Yeah, she can still do it whenever we're not
Should give her this.
fighting dragons.
It's magical, so it probably would fit her if you did.
I'll think about it. At least I can ask if she'd be interested in having it. I don't know how much it would interfere with the actual learning the languages part. So I don't know.
She'd probably figure it out, and B, she's a rhyme hook.
Point.
Give her any time with anything magical, and she'll probably have dismantled it, put it back together, and made it better in the process.
Well, I was more thinking that if he asked, she'd say no, just because it would be depriving him.
Yeah, that too. So never mind. I'll just think about it.
Yeah, at which point you do get Alice raising her voice enough to go, "We've more or less stopped talking about you if you guys want to test out your legs."
Farideh will walk out anyway, let Froseth decide what he wants. Also, disassembling magical devices is an entirely bad idea.
I was gonna leave it for you to correct him on that one. And yeah, Froseth kind of follows out. He's probably managing a little better just because even reduced of age, Dex is still probably his stronger suit, so.
So everyone booted up enough to manage breakfast now, and not, smack themselves in the face with a cake pan.
I think so, but Farideh, are you okay walking?
I should be.
Okay.
Not, I'll figure it out.
Well, let's hope Miranda has talked some calm into those kids, huh?
Fingers crossed.
They can. She and Twilly.
To be fair, Twilly is going to be busy with clothes and breakfast, so she probably is not going to have much of a chance to talk to the kids.
In this particular instance.
Okay, but we're talking about the specific situation. Because, yeah, as far as I can tell, Twilly could talk the hind legs off a donkey and then convince it to go for a walk, so.
Yep.
You're muted, but it's probably just as well.
Oh no, the expression
Broke
was
the
good
dog.
enough. That was meant to be in silent.
Yeah. And as Alice passes, she rummages around in bag and hands him a bit of paper.
Ah, thank you.
You know what? Just because of the sheer amount of snow, I'm going to handle this now. I'm going to head outside and make sure head outside before everyone else gets there. Just so that if I do fall over, I'm not going to smash into anybody, and boots of speed start making a path. How badly am I about to fall on my face?
Given that there's a kind of a slippy patch where you landed the first time, I'm not even making you make the roll. Boots of haste, ice patch, skid. You do make a narrow half-elf width path to more or less the front door, and then thunk, thump.
Get up, continue with boots of speed active to shake everything off. To just sort of rotate in place. And then turn them off and fall over again.
They only last for about a minute, so yeah. Probably don't even have to turn them off. It's just Alice, as she's walking past, just grabs by the furs, one in each, belt in one hand, collar in the other. The door by this point is already open, so Alice just kind of hoists Hazel in, sets her on her feet, prestidigitates away the snow that she's landed in.
Thank you.
No, thank you. You've taken some of the attention off the arrivals. Yeah, the kids are in the process of putting breakfast bits on the table. Skylar is speaking up with, no, Farideh needs the bigger plate of her favorites. I think she's probably going to have more appetite than she did when she was smaller. So yeah, the
Everybody
kid.
listen to Skylar on this one.
Yeah, they're mostly they're keeping as calm as possible. It's just kind of focusing on chores and just being, "Hey Farideh, hi Froseth."
Hello.
Bella is just, I guess we'll have to put Froseth on Faradeh's place on the chores rota, but not today. Today is a break day for everybody. Well, you two anyway. You have other more important things to do, both of you. Twilly comes out with armload of Faradeh's dresses, just sized larger, given that they are being carried by a halfling. That is a lot of fabric.
Faradeh will immediately go over to help. It's like
I'm stronger than I look, but admittedly not by very much.
awkward still.
I think that's all of them. I kept a couple of your more gender-neutral trouser and tunic sort of ensembles for Froseth. Froseth, you cannot just wear the top of your gi the entire time. I've laid out some of Faradeh's clothes. You should be able to fit in them. Okay. I'm going to have to... Then again, I suppose I'm fairly well versed in dealing with children who don't like to make a fuss about anything. Lissy, Candor, a couple of the others are just... Yes, Miranda taps Darwin on the shoulder. You don't count. You're an adult. Adults get a little more leeway with that. Not much, but some. Besides, you're not the worst of this lot. Glancing in a Remy Alice direction. Yeah, both of them are just doing the...
Yeah, mine is ceiling.
Actually, no. I'm looking for Evan. I just don't. Look, Ree spent 40 minutes getting all the bits out of my hair.
I didn't mind.
I appreciate it. I did. So yeah, we're gonna stick around one more day. So anybody who has enough gap in their chores schedule to have moose rides.
I'm just imagining the
Farideh.
collective yay from all the kids.
Yeah, and Alisai glances over at Farideh and goes, "You can ride on the way."
I wasn't even gonna ask, but thank you.
Look, you've got plenty of time with legs now. He's. We should probably show you. Well, we should show him you, because otherwise he's gonna get real confused about why the Dragonborn smells wrong. He's not that good with facial features, but you don't smell like Froseth to legs.
No, makes sense.
Yeah, Noop is currently sitting at Faraday's feet, like the fuck. Ow. Because you smell like the little one who Noop has a rota for whose feet he sleeps on. His was like 2 nights ago, and Faraday's was like 2 nights ago, and now it's just sort of actually looks at your feet, and pats with the paw like.
Provide scritches.
Bends down, scritches a little bit.
Like, okay, fine. You've got good scritchy hands. You can stay. Mm. Yeah. Froseth, it seems to be largely being talked to by the boys who are talking about how they're arranging rooms so that they can make sure that Froseth's got a bed that's going to fit him. Because you're still taller than most of us. You can have Keth's old bed. Now he lives in the house behind Fort Cupcake. So, well, because none of our beds fit him right now, and just the various chores and what games they play when not doing chores and all the fun things he can try, and that they're trying not to overwhelm. They're not succeeding overly well because even when Froseth was that age, nobody was talking to him quite that much either. But now, of course, he's been a bit more used to these guys, so probably coping with it a little better than he would have the first time around. Farideh, meanwhile, is mostly getting sort of. So you're gonna go adventuring?
Yeah, I guess that's the plan now.
Did you want to go adventuring? I mean, you always said you wanted to go adventuring.
And I was not lying. I do want to go adventuring.
You just
I didn't
weren't
expect it to come this quick.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're lucky or not. I think Skylar thinks you're really lucky. I think she's probably going to be praying to Bahamut a lot for similar upgrowing. And Skylar is just like, well, maybe a little.
Precious.
Well, there's dragons. Bad dragons.
Oh.
And Bahamut wants them squished. I'm just not big enough to squish them. So I guess Faraday's going to have to squish them for me. Or however you're going to squish them, because I don't think you fight like Froseth does.
No.
The others told me
It'll
you
be.
kind of fight like Farida kind of fights like I would.
Twilly, who's making sure everybody's covered. It's just a theory.
I'm probably going to have to spend the day to figure out what exactly I can do. I can feel something there. And people probably want to keep a safe distance when I try things.
I'll be on hand because of. I'm just gonna hold up a hand, grab amulet, glow. Do you still want all of you in one piece?
I think
Yui?
she's more worried about the stories that we've heard about first time using frost breath. Because apparently, Froseth and Farideh's parents let her figure it out for herself because they thought it was funny. And I don't know if the monks didn't know or they just had a really weird sense of humor, but they let Froseth figure it out on his own too. That's what he said on the carriage ride when he showed us that he could do the frost breath thing. Wow, that means your frost breath is going to be proper adult dragonborn size.
Probably.
Neat.
Now resisting the urge to do it right now.
we have the same rule in place, Farideh. No frost breath in the house.
Yeah.
But while you're testing things out outside, you can. I mean, it's certainly enough frost to go around.
Yeah.
Did Froseth tell you that he first demonstrated that for the little ones? Did Froseth out the back of an open cart? Yes.
Yes.
It was easier to show them. And Evan just, it was really neat.
No, it actually was quite that. Quite so.
Effective demonstrations are effective.
And yeah, I mean, breakfast happens, and both of the Dragonborn get themselves a little more used to what they are now. We're coming on to about the end of session at the moment, but we will basically finish off with, you would expect, particularly Ava would expect that a Dragonborn who was going sorcerer would be dragon blood, like, because of half sister. But no, apparently she carries the storm around, which is when Darvin will remember the bring them the storm.
Yeah, if at some point that's it's brought up in conversation that he'll just sort of he'll mutter that more like not trying to hide he's saying it, but more just bring them the storm, or bring the storm, child, like that. Just sort of like he's thinking about it, trying to remember the exact wording.
Yeah. So,
Bring up the storm.
well, Mark of the Storm, and then grown up with it. I guess it does things. I don't know. Good a theory as any. Doesn't really matter. You just looks at Farideh. Sorry, I'm not going to talk about you like you're not here. It just,
Thank you.
You have the day to get used to it. And I have the day to take people on flights and mooseback rides. Which she does, hopefully with Remy's help somewhat, because that's a lot of kids to wrangle. And, with various bits of settling people in and getting adjusted to stuff, the day continues. We're going to leave the session there. All of y'all, we are leveling up over the next 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And part of this is because, with Anth changing characters, it seemed like this was the best time to do that. So again, I'm gonna flag this up because some people have forgotten it in the past. Book a time with me. Not this week. This week coming is possible, but not great. The following week I have off. So I'll be around on a longer term basis. But yeah, I won't be able to just be tapped because I like to actually sit and think about where you're going so I can help, basically. So set up a time with me sometime before the next session so we can get all of that carried on, because we're going to actually be going into plot combat things starting next session. So I'll see.
Quick question. It's a level 12, so it's like an ability score improvement feat kind of thing.
Yeah, but there's other stuff as well, sometimes, depending on your subclass. So I need to look up all of that shit in multiple different source books. And then, of course, I have my own level up to do, so...
Because we trapped you in the realm of a character.
You're welcome!
Yeah. Well, and I have to rewrite I have to help rewrite an entire character sheet now, so... decide what's staying, what's going, what's going to happen. But worth it in the end. I think this is going to be an interesting turn of events. So I will speak to y'all over the course of the next 2 weeks and see you for session in 2 weeks' time. Have a lovely time. Later, guys.